Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode number 59 of Makai-World Reviews. It is I, of course, the Eternal Makai, master of minds and men, and we continue into the new year with video game movies. Last week, we looked at the awful and depressing Super Mario Brothers. Today, something a little different. In 1994's Double Dragon. Will it be passable or more flavorless mush like last week? Well, let's go ahead and find out. But of course, please like, please subscribe. I'm always trying to improve. And if I've entertained you at all, even just a little bit, I would love to have you click on that red button. Go ahead and do it right now. Thank you, thank you. Double Dragon, directed by James Yukich, a longtime music video director. Boy, that's already a theme, huh? Moved on to some comedy directing and comedy TV directing. I mean, this was like his only non-comedy or music-related directing. Not really sure how he got this job. Now, the story is by Paul Dini of Batman the Animated Series fame, as well as Freakazoid, Lost. He's a pretty reliable and interesting guy. I've done a little bit formulaic, but a solid writer. I'm a fan of his. His co-writer for the story is Neil Schusterman, I apologize, who is a young adult sci-fi author, also competent. But the script was by Peter Gould, who did this, some other garbage, the executive producer on Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. Talk about failing upwards. And Michael Davis, who did Shoot 'Em Up, which was pretty good, if not stupid. A lot of people in this movie. Why do these movies have so many writers on them? How hard is it to take two guys fighting? You kidnap a girl, you save her, whatever. Starring Mark Dacascos, who was Jimmy Lee's older brother, did a lot of TV work even before this. General Hospital, The Flash, Tales from the Crypt. Really didn't do a ton after this, to be frank, until he became the chairman on Iron Chef America. And then got some decent work. Shows like Hawaii Five-0, the remake, of course, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and a season of Kamen Rider. And Scott Wolf, who plays Billy Lee, probably most known for his main role in Party of Five. Also has done Everwood, one of the many reboots of V, a bunch of other shows. I mean, he has kept busy in the TV realm. Not so many movies came a-calling after this, probably for the best, but he is a dependable hand in the TV department. Release date for this was November 4th, 1994. What came out this same week? The War, an Elijah Wood Kevin Costner movie that is big on the emotion but little on plot. Not a horrible film, not even bad maybe, but uninteresting and largely forgettable. Elijah has done much better. Kevin, well, he's done other films. And Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. This one is the one with Robert De Niro as Frankenstein's monster, which it exists. Frank Darabont did the script, but Kenneth Branagh didn't respect that script and sort of rewrote it, and it came out as this weird, strange film that doesn't work. All right, so the plot. So the plot for this is fairly bare bones, to be honest, though that's not intrinsically a bad thing. Jimmy and Billy are martial artists living in a fairly dystopian New Angeles after the big quake in the near future of 2007. There are martial artists, and they live with their adopted mother. Billy has half a magic BFF pendant. You know who else has half a magic BFF pendant? Evil businessman Kogashuko. What kind of business? No idea. Unclear. It just reaffirms he's the bad guy. And of course, as the bad guy, and not the apparent leader of a multi-million or billion-dollar corporation, he does all the dirty work himself. So he kills the Lee's adopted mother, trying to get his half of the BFF pendant. So leads to the boys teaming up with Alyssa Milano and her gang of, kids, essentially, to help fight against Shuko and his, some gangs that work for him or are near him. This leads to boys fighting each other briefly, only for the bad guy to get both the BFF pendants and become, two guys, briefly, but the Lees discover the true power was friendship, brotherhood, and the magic pendants they steal right back from Shuko, and defeat him easily. And Alyssa Milano's character sleeps with both of them. That's what happens. Let's start the pros. This movie overall was fun. It was a lot of fun. It was incredibly simple and stupid, but it had charm. It felt like people making it cared a little bit and had some knowledge of the games. We got all the game beats, fighting, appropriately colored costumes, a girl they both want, some magic stuff, lots of stupid people to fight, hit all the beats. Fight scenes, which were an appropriate amount, were pretty good. The two fought very differently, which I liked. Jimmy fought very martial arts, movie inspired, lots of flips, high kicks, lots of choreography, very quick paced. While Billy fought simply, threw some punches, a few kicks, lots of knees, used weapons in his environment around him, like a brawler. And while Jimmy was a lot more competent in this department for obvious reasons, neither of them looked bad, and the fights were reasonably fluid. Satire was pretty good and at times heavy. Lots of humor in that regard. They had George Hamilton, Vanna White, and Andy Dick to lay it on as news reporters. It felt like they mixed the satire of RoboCop 1 with the plot of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, although to much less effect than either of those, obviously. But it felt like those were the inspirations, which are both good inspirations. Ao Long was one of the main henchmen for Shuko, and I love this guy. He plays essentially the evil Asian guy in everything. He's him. From the Fall Guy, Big Trouble in Little China, to literally Genghis Khan in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, and so on and so forth. Love this guy. He has a great gag with the others, henchmen at the end, where they have signs reading, "We'll hench for food," and "Thug seeks ruthless boss." Pretty good. Michael Berryman from The Hills Have Eyes was in this, and honestly, every time you need a weird-looking guy, you get this guy. He's in for a brief moment. I like that guy. Alyssa Milano, despite her acting, looks incredible here. Insert like Homer Simpson drooling noses. She has that Angelina Jolie hackers thing going on that gave me a difficult time as a kid. I gave you a difficult time. I guess you might say with girls with short hair for a long time. That probably resides to this day. And they play that up. We get lots and lots of Alyssa, especially bent over, though she wears a wig at home and it looks awful. Now the negatives. I want to point out, and this is neither good nor bad really, but I want to point out that dystopia New Angeles, people have to wear masks. Crime is at an all-time high. With massive looting, people are useless. Police are useless at best. Giant corporations keep the poor oppressed. The homeless epidemic is at an all-time high. Men dress as women. Celebrities vacantly smile at you and assure you everything is okay as long as you comply, and everyone's private information is open to everyone else. Dare I say they really knocked it out of the park on that one, just a few years out of date. It was cliche, with a fairly boring story. The CGI was mediocre, even for the day. The acting was overall subpar. Robert Patrick, in particular, was really bad and miscast. I would have liked to see a more physically imposing character in the role of Shunko, and maybe Asian. His name is Koga Shuko, and at the end he's beaten rather easily. I would have liked to see him be a threat with or without his magic pendant, but he was pretty limp-wristed. Also, how did he know how to use the pendant? Can anyone do it? It's all vague. And they do dumb things. The mother's death is dumb. She gets locked in a room inside her own living space and can't get out for some reason. They try to steal Shuko's pendant with a small magnet. Why would you ever not be wearing your super magic pendant? That is apparently the only thing that gives you any sort of strength. There are two chase scenes, one in a car and one on some water ski thing, and they both have really awful computer-generated, overview maps. They're long, boring, and add nothing to the story. They're the definition of padding in a film that didn't really need it. They could at least have one of these scenes and wouldn't have missed a beat. The Bobo character has a story arc. Bobo is a huge guy with muscles, but here he's a huge guy with muscles that is turned into a guy made out of beach balls and has a redemption arc. It's stupid. It's not funny. We get some fart jokes out of it, which aren't funny. I thought he would have been better as a main henchman for Shuko instead of whatever his role was here. Shuko just had no real threats around him. Two morons and a girl with a whip. While she's a nice throwback to the games and stuff, she was pretty ineffective. Also, there are zombies for some reason. It's stupid. Well, the gangs are a throwback to the Warriors movie with their themed gang outfits. 90% of the gangs are white. In LA, no Latin gang, no black gang. Come on, this was a minor gripe. It stands out in a movie about LA. Unless gentrification came to the gang world after the earthquake. Overall, this was a fairly entertaining movie that was incredibly stupid. I enjoyed it for what it was, and video game movies, honestly, don't really need to be much more than this. Had action, some romance, some humor, some absolute garbage, but was light and fun and didn't really shit on the source material. Although I prefer the cartoon to this. But that's what it is. Well, that was Double Dragon. Not that bad, not that good. What did you folks think of my review of this video game movie? Are you a fan of the series? Did you watch the cartoons as well? Play the version where you can be Andre the Giant? Let me know down below. Also, please like, comment, subscribe. Get my Patreon and let me know what you want me to review. Also, please check out my Instagram for daily Twin Peaks memes. And my podcast, the Dark Peaks Podcast, on YouTube. Just search those words, Dark Peaks Podcast. And it's on various other podcast platforms. Next week, we look at a genuine video game movie classic. Look at the first, Mortal Kombat. This has been the Son of Makai, Master of Minds and Men. Thank you, and goodbye.